Well, this is Your Money, your weekly guide to making the most of your cash, here every weekend on BBC News Television and available all week on the BBC iPlayer as well. The best and worst annuity rates have been published. Are you getting the most for your money? And how do you choose the right student bank account? We'll have money tips if you're heading off to university. And councils in England and Wales have been accused of relying too much on bailiffs to recover debt. If you receive a visit, do you have to let them in? Very warm welcome to you. I'm Alice Baxter and welcome to Your Money. Now, if you retire and you've been saving in your own pension plan, you can swap your savings for an insurance policy that pays an income for the rest of your life. It's called an annuity. Well, the Association of British Insurers has published tables that compare the annuity rates offered by the giants of the UK insurance industry, which shows that some annuities appear to provide poor value for money. Some of the UK's biggest insurance companies are offering pension payouts that are up to 23% lower than the leading rates. Well, with me now is Malcolm McLean from pensions consultancy Barnett Waddington. Malcolm, good to see you this morning. We were just saying earlier, across the Saturday morning papers, annuities and pensions getting a pretty bad press, aren't they? Because this is a minefield. It's a complicated topic. It's incredibly important people get it right. How do they know if they are?
It is a complicated area and many people get it wrong. I think 400,000 people have taken out annuities in recent years, and I suspect many of them have actually got the wrong annuity. So this is an area which really needs bottoming out, and you really need to take great care to make sure you get this right.
As I was just saying, big differences in what providers are offering. How do you know if you've picked the right product for you? What's the checklist you've got to go through?
Well, there are three things really you need to think about. One is timing. When do you want to take the annuity? Indeed, you want to take one at all, because you can't do anything normally under age 55, but from 55 onwards, you can delay taking your annuity, or you can set up what's called a drawdown plan, whereby the pot of money remains with you and you sort of draw the interest off it, as it were, and leave the question of an annuity perhaps for a later date.
And are you perhaps even better off waiting till you're in your 70s and 80s, perhaps?
Well, that's a difficult one, because you will probably get a better rate because you're older, and therefore the insurance company knows there is less time for them to pay this annuity to you, because none of us live forever, of course, and these things are lifetime products. But by the same token, it's quite risky, this, because your pot of money may go down because the investments are not performing, and there are other factors as well. You may actually be drawing out too much, and eventually when you do go for an annuity, you might get less. And of course, annuity rates for the last 20 years have been on a downward slide because people are living longer, and that is reflected to some extent in some of the rates that are payable. So
the timing's important. The type of annuity is also important.
The type of annuity, yes, there are different types of annuity, and this is where I think many people really do get confused, because you can get an annuity which pays a level amount for the rest of your life. You can get one that covers you for inflation. You can get one with a spouse's benefit in the event of your death. So there are all these possibilities. Of course, the more bells and whistles, as it were, that you have on this, the lower the amount is. And many people, wrongly, I think, go for the level annuity, which is not going to go up. And in the case of a married couple, for example, that means if the man's taking a level annuity, he's not covering in the event of his death for his wife. So again, that's an important area of choice.
So the timing's important, the type of annuity, and of course getting the best provider as well, and seeking advice, presumably.
Yeah, the best provider. The tables that the Association of British Insurers came out were quite revealing, in the sense that they showed a big disparity between the worst and the best, something like 30% difference. And on an average annuity, that could make as much as £2,000 a year difference. And bear in mind, we're not talking about 1 year here. If you've got a life expectation of 30 years, then you're talking about £60,000. Who can afford to miss that? A once and for all decision. You've got to get it right. I advise everybody to get financial advice in this situation. Sound
advice indeed. Malcolm, many thanks for coming in this morning. Malcolm McLean there. Now, thousands of new students will be entering university for the very first time next month, and for some, dealing with their finances on their own can be a daunting prospect. So that's why choosing the right bank account could be vital to ensure that you're financially fit, so that you can focus on getting that top-class degree. Ramzan Kamali's been down to the University of Brighton to see how one fresher's finances are shaping up.
So the euphoria after last week's A-level results may have subsided now, to be replaced by feelings of excitement as many head off to university for the very first time. But the cold reality of managing your finances is just one huge problem facing freshers as they enter the brand new world of student life. Stephanie Fitzgibbon is off to the University of Brighton to study physical education.
As I said, this is the chest press.
She's been trying to get her finances in order, but weighing up which bank account to choose wasn't as straightforward as she would have liked.
Most of them, the first thing they tell you are the gimmicks. And as a first-time student, I got quite distracted by it all. And I started to look at the gimmicks rather than what they had to offer as a bank. So that was a bit complicated for me because I got confused as to what I was meant to be looking for in the bank.
And Stephanie's not alone. Almost 500,000 new undergraduates will be learning the financial ropes for the very first time. But there is help out there and some simple tips to follow too.
Check your entitlement first, shop around for the right bank account that suits you. Don't rush out and buy everything on your book list. Universities have excellent free resources. Look to see what discounts you can get when you get an NUS Extra card. Don't be afraid to ask if they do any reductions for students in shops and other services.
But when it comes to choosing the right bank account, the variety of options available can be confusing. Many offer interest-free overdrafts. Some can be as much as £3,000. And then there are the non-financial incentives, like a free young person's rail card, especially useful if you're travelling far from home to study. And banks may also entice students with free music downloads and even money off holidays abroad. So how can you make sure you're picking the right account for you?
If you are going to need to use an overdraft, then look at the one with the best long-term overdraft. Don't be swayed by the things that you might get, like theatre tickets, which are great when you sign up, but actually then you may be paying more for your bank account long-term than you need to. So avoid the gimmicks, look at the small print and decide which is the best account for you in the long term.
Stephanie decided not to go for the bank account with the biggest overdraft, but one which will get gradually larger the longer she stays at university. She's determined to remain financially disciplined and to make sure she's never too hard pressed when it comes to money. Ramzan Kamali, BBC News.
Now,